Hello there, and welcome to the CP7 podcast. My name's Palm.
And I'm Andy.
And together, we are Chrono Passion 7. Hello, and welcome to another very special show. Once again, we have a very special guest. Today, we've got Niclas Berglund from Bezl Magazine. How are you, Niclas? How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Great to have you here, Niclas. So, as always, when we have a new and exciting guest on the show, we have to ask that age-old question of what are you wearing on your wrist today?
So actually, guys, I'm turning 40 this summer, and this is my 40th anniversary watch. It's an LM101 from MB&F.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I'm super excited about this watch, and this has been a dream watch of me for so many years, and finally I got it, so I'm super proud for that, and yeah, I'm super happy. And what about you, Farm? What are you wearing today?
Unfortunately, I don't have anything anywhere near as fancy as that. I've got a watch which was sent for review by Alain Ben Joseph. It is the Christian van der Klauw Ariadne, Ace Jewelers in collaboration with Christian van der Klauw. Nice sporty chronograph. Andy is waiting to get this watch as well, so he can give it a bit of a review as well. But it's a lovely, beautiful chronograph with a moon phase, triple date function, very complicated, very beautiful, very sophisticated. So that's what I've got on my wrist.
Beautiful. And what about you, Andy?
My watch is maybe not quite as flashy as the pieces you guys are rocking today, but I'm being classic, I'm being vintage. I'm wearing an Acorist today. An old British brand. It's very Omega-esque, if you like, in design. Solid gold. The cool thing about this, it was my granddad's watch. Now it's my dad's watch. So it's just been repaired here in Barcelona when it goes back to my dad. So I'm just enjoying it a little while before I have to return it. But it's very, very thin, very nice to wear.
Yeah, it looks like a strap monster.
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. Yeah, it's a great little watch to wear.
Beautiful classic watch. Very classic
exactly.
looking.
Yeah.
To kick off, if our listeners at home didn't know, Niclas started his own watch magazine in 2023. It's called Bezl. So, Niclas, what gave you the inspiration to start the magazine, and why now? Why did you pick this particular time to do it?
Yeah, so the thing is, 2 years ago, me and my family decided to take a break from our regular life in Stockholm. Both me and my wife are journalists. So we decided to take a gap year and move to southern France. My wife speaks very good French, and she's working with the language for many years. And she really wanted to bring the family to France. We have 2 small kids, 3 and 6. So we decided to go to south of France, enjoying life, be with the family, to do something different. I'm such a watch geek. I've been collecting watches for more than 10 years, and I'm really into watches, so to say. Since I'm working a lot with photography and also I'm filming a lot, so I really wanted to do something with watches, but I wasn't really sure how I should do it. I work for Swedish TV normally, so maybe I should do what I'm doing at TV, but with watches, to keep that formula and put it into watches. So that's what I did, basically. And me, as a collector and watch enthusiast, have been missing the storytelling, more like get to know the people behind the watches, to know more about the watch through the people who are wearing the watches. So that's what I really longing for myself, because when I sat down, like, what can I do with my magazine? And something that I really longing for myself was this kind of storytelling, to get to know the people behind the watches. So I decided to focus on that part for Bezl Magazine. So that's what I'm doing, basically. I'm meeting manufacturers, I'm meeting collectors and watchmakers, and I want to tell their story through the people I meet. I talk about the watches, of course, but it's really important to get to know the person behind the watch. Why did you choose that watch? What does it mean for you? And because a watch can be so much more when you know the guy or the woman behind the watch.
The mind behind it, yeah.
That was really important to me, to kind of aim for that storytelling. And Bezl have been live now online for 1 year, and it's amazing. I mean, I was really new to the watch community, even though I've been collecting myself and really into watches. So I was a bit lonely, if you can say that, in my interest.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So, for example, when I met you guys at Watches and Wonders, that was my first time at Watches and Wonders. I've never been before. And also the reaction I get from the watch community with Bezl, it's amazing. I mean, people are so friendly. I get to get access to behind the scenes and get to meet brands, and everyone is so supportive. So I'm super happy and excited about all the exciting people I get to meet. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like you're living the dream, really, right?
Yeah. This year has been like a roller coaster, but it's so much fun to do, like, because Bezl Magazine is really a passion project. I do everything myself. I'm writing, I'm taking photographs, and I also film. That's what I really do also with the articles I do. I try to give the readers a more unique experience. So I try to implement photography and short reels, like video, to have the article to become more alive, so to say. I'm mixing these two things. So yeah, it's much fun.
Yeah. So, what was the actual process of, okay, you had an idea, right? I want to start a magazine. And then what happened? I mean,
Yeah.
we understand the motivation. What was the action?
Yeah, the world is really small sometimes. You feel that. Because when I got the idea, I called my cousin, because I know he was working with some PR department, building websites and stuff like that, because I was searching on Google, like, to have this kind of template to
Web developers.
you
right?
have everything ready. You just like put in the pictures and the text, and then you have a blog. And that's one way to do it. But when I talked to my cousin, he told me, like, no, you should really like build your own website, and we can help you with that here at my company. So that's what happened. Like, Bezl, from the beginning, Bezl was meant to be only on Swedish. So because I saw a big gap at the Swedish market with the storytelling, and we don't have that much. We have a few websites, but I decided to go for Swedish. But after a while, just like after a few posts on the website, I posted a story about the Swedish dealer called Tony Kavak, and he made a deal with a JC, a really rare 24.99 Patek Philippe.
And Jay-Z, you say?
Yeah, JC. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The watch has an integrated link into the case, so it's super rare. And he made this deal, and I know Tony since I also live in Stockholm. So I called him up and asked if I could do like an interview with him and talk about the deal. And he said, yes, of course. So let's do it. And I get to meet him because he's a big Patek collector himself. So he had his own 24.99. So I was able to take like photographs of him wearing his Patek. And then I could like add some JC pictures with his watch.
Oh, wow.
When I released that on Bezl, it was on Swedish. And Tony was also sharing it through his Instagram. And a lot of people started to contact me and asking for the article to be on English. So I decided, like, yeah, why not? It's much fun. It's if more people can read it. And when I did that, the feedback was really good. So I decided to make the website bilingual. So I continue to have it on Swedish, but also in English. But then a few months back from now, I did a completely new website, so to say, like the layout and everything, brand new. I also, Bezl has a shop at the moment also, where you can buy pre-owned watches. So, and when I did that, I decided to take away the Swedish part and just focus on English. And I think that was the right decision. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
awesome.
Quite a story, yeah. Jay-Z, Patek Philippe, Jay-Z. I don't think many magazines start off like that. Wow.
Yeah, it was quite the
really
start,
cool.
I have to say. Yeah. Yeah, it was a really good start to get the website on the map, but still it's really hard, you think like people like to read about watches, and you will get this huge reach immediately, but it's so much hard work, and I do everything myself, like social media, as I told you, like I'm writing, photograph, filming. You also need to go in and meet the people that you are doing the stories with, because that's also something that's really important, and that's what I had with me from all my experience from working as a news journalist, like to be on site, to meet the person where he or her operate on a daily basis. That's really important, to get that feeling, to have them comfortable, to talk about the watches and the passion and everything. So that's something that I really, really want to do, to go there and meet the people. So it's really time consuming, but it's so much fun as well. I get to
Very
meet a lot
rewarding.
of people. Yeah, and also like I'm a big fan myself. I've been following a lot of people for many years, and then I get to meet them because I have this platform now. So that's also so much fun. Yeah.
It sounds familiar,
Yeah, you
so
must.
we can relate.
Yeah,
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 you know
yeah.
what I'm
You're pinching
talking about.
yourself half the time, thinking, "Well, I just watched this guy on YouTube 3-4 years ago, and
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
TV, and read about them, and now I'm sitting on the same table as
Yeah,
them." Yeah,
it's surreal.
Yeah.
So, Nicholas, you kind of touched on it there, because
Mhm.
it sounds like you had an absolutely brilliant launch, and everything just,
Mhm.
the stars aligned perfectly by the sounds of
Yeah.
things. But we kind of touched on it a little bit there with challenges. So, what would you
Mhm.
say are the biggest challenges to starting an online magazine? Because there's so many different outlets these days. It's a very crowded market.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, let's say, carve your own path in that part of the industry, what's quite, condensed?
What I really focus on, as I mentioned earlier also, is to focus on storytelling, and also the way I build the articles, to have both photography and video, and also to have this kind of portrait story with the people. I haven't come across that format myself, so I feel like I have something special with Bezl. But still, even if I have that, it's really hard to get the reach. I mean, that takes time. And during the Watches and Wonders, I get the chance to talk to a lot of people, and that was also very good for me to get a better insight what it takes to get the reach for your magazine. I mean, I talked to bloggers that been active for over 20 years, and they told the things they told me, I'm going through the same thing as they did like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just grinding. Like, you need to work and you need to be consistent. I mean, Instagram is super, super important. So sometimes I have to remind myself, like, Bezl is the platform where I have my articles, and that's where my passion lies. But I work so much with Instagram as well, so I can't leave that out, because that's my channel to all my readers, basically.
Yeah, Instagram's the
Yeah,
necessary evil, I think, for all of us. A lot of us
yeah,
would just, "Right, let's leave it," but
yeah,
it's just the industry we're in, right?
yeah, exactly. And I've been working a bit with Instagram as a news journalist, but not as I do now. Like, I work so much with Instagram, and it was also a learning curve to know how to do it, like to get that exclusive touch on the posts. So yeah, it's a lot of work, even on Instagram. It feels like I have two platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you maybe it's the same for you guys with the podcast to
Oh,
yes,
get
yeah.
the reach.
100%. Yeah, well, you
Yeah,
need another outlet. You can't just rely on. We dropped the podcast on a podcatcher like
yeah,
Spotify, Apple, but then now we've just launched a website, which is making a big difference.
mm,
Instagram was the vision to give that visual experience. We had
yeah,
to have another medium. So yeah, we both understand entirely
Yeah.
yeah,
We're in the
what you're just
same
saying there.
process right now. Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's and also like something really important. Also, I think with Instagram is the collaboration function. So when I do like a feature with someone at Bezl, We collaborate around the posts on Instagram, and that helps me get the reach. I mean, a lot of guys that I meet for Bezl have so many followers. It's been like 500,000 or over 100,000 followers. And of course, that helps me and Bezl to get on the map. Things like this is super important, but I don't pay that. I would never do a story because of that. I would never meet the person because of the followers on Instagram. I need to feel that the person also have a story to tell. But of course, it's important when you release a story to do like a collaboration post.
So it's an added benefit, but it's not the focus. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you why you chose this getting to know the people and storytelling ethos, but you've explained that quite well there. Yeah. So now, if you don't mind me asking, what are your favorite pieces in your collection, and what was your thinking behind getting those pieces?
So the LM101 have been like a dream watch for me for many years, and also what I really like about that. Just for
the listeners at home, that's an MB&F Legacy Machine 1 that Niclas is wearing. Beautiful, insane, complicated watch. MB&F, Max Busa and friends do things so well, and that watch just looks incredible. And check out the website for the show notes, because that will have a lovely picture of Niclas's watch. So sorry, Niclas, please carry on. Tell us.
Great introduction. So I also want to tell you a backstory. When Bezl was about to launch, I was queuing for the LM101, but I didn't know anyone at MB&F. This was before Bezl. So I reached out to Cedric Russell at MB&F, because he was my contact person, and I was like checking how everything was going, if I still were in the queue for the watch and everything. And then we set up a Zoom meeting. We just had a brief chat about like what kind of watches I liked and why did I want to own an MB&F and stuff like that. At the end of the meeting, I told him about this idea I had with Bezl. Bezl was just an idea at that point. And he told me, like, you should come to Geneva. I will give you a round tour at the Madhouse, and you can get to meet the watchmakers of MB&F. And I can also show you the Mad Gallery downtown Geneva. You get to see our watches, and maybe you can do a story with us. And so that was the first story I did for Bezl. So that was also the point where I decided to let's do it. Let's go for it. Because then I had like a really good story, and I had the chance to meet the MB&F at their Madhouse, where they do all the watches, like they assemble all the watchmakers, put all the watches together there. So it meant so much for Bezl. That was really like the start for Bezl also. So this watch, now when I have it, it means a lot to me, to be honest.
So it's a beginning. That represents the beginning to you, right?
It represents the beginning of
this whole crazy journey. And so are you also saying that if you need to get an MB&F watch, you just tell them you're starting a magazine and you'll get one?
Yeah, it's just like that.
Will it work with Rolex? Or?
Yeah.
Will it work with everyone?
Yeah. Got to Patek Philippe.
Yeah, so that's the key, guys. You should start a blog or a magazine, and then you're all set. No, but you have to queue and wait like everyone else. But for sure, they are a smaller brand, and they also want to be a smaller brand. So they are really like, they take care of their customers, even though the wait list for this LM101 with blue dial steel that I have is very popular. I think it's one of their most popular model with a long wait list for many years. But still, they are really careful about their customers and give feedback where they are in the queue. And yeah, I really admire the work and how they are doing stuff. And also like Maximilian Busser is what a legend.
Something else, right? Yeah, just his visionary,
his
genius.
Creations are insane. And this is a legacy machine, whereas more like a traditional watch is a round watch. But you also have the HM's horological machines, where he's going crazy, basically. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with MB&F, I strongly recommend you to visit the website or go to Bezl, because I have a great story about the Madhouse.
check out Bezl. We'll leave a link in the description and also on the website in the show notes, which is, by the way, Andy, what's the website? How do you get to our website?
I'm glad you asked. It's www.chronopassion7, as in the number 7.com.
And you'll find all that information right there.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this leads very nicely to my final question. That would be looking to the future of Bezl. So we've heard how it started. We've heard where you are today. What's the next chapter?
Yeah, so actually now, at this moment, Bezl itself has been slowing down a bit the last month because I have taken on a role as a chief editor for a new magazine. It's a collaboration between Bezl Magazine and Super Watchman. Super Watchman is today the leading watch channel on Instagram for celebrities. And they wanted to do a magazine. And the funny thing is, at the same time, I was planning to do my own magazine. So they reached out to me. We met at Watches and Wonders. The guys are amazing. It's Niclas and Igor. Super nice guys. They asked me if I wanted to do a magazine with them, like print magazine.
Okay. So not online. This is actually in your hand paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I really have a soft spot for physical magazine, print magazine. A magazine that you can hold in your hand and sit down and take a moment to read the stories. This is also like to do a magazine like we're doing now. It's also a big challenge because like the readers scrolling faster than ever, and to get the readers to slow down, to take a moment, sit down and read the stories. But I strongly believe that there are many people out there who are longing for this, just as I do, and love the feeling of holding something in your hand.
Yeah.
So this collaboration is, I really like it because Bezl is standing for the long reads and Super Watchman is doing the shorter stuff, more like gossip feeling. In the magazine, we will cover top 10 Conor McGregor's collection and also the world leaders top 15 and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's coming from Super Watchman. And from my end,
What
it's
about
more long.
Brady?
Sorry?
What about Tom Brady? Because he has everything, right? Tom Brady.
Exactly. Maybe for the next album.
You need a whole issue, I think, just for Tom Brady.
A book collection.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's super exciting to be in this project and also to team up because I do Bezl myself and it's so much fun to. I'm sure you guys know a lot about that. It's so nice to have two more guys in the same project that could push you to the better you and stuff like that. So it's much fun to talk about ideas and stuff like that. So it's really soon. Like I had the first draft today. Okay. So it was so crazy to see everything come together, and it was amazing to see actually.
That's brilliant.
What date is it coming out? Because we're dropping this in early July.
All
so
right.
what date
I think last of June, the date that we're aiming for, but it's not 100% yet. But I can come back to you guys and make sure we got the right.
Okay,
but that's great. It should be released at that point. Yeah. And also, I will send you guys a copy for sure.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah. And what's the magazine called, by the way?
It's Super Watchman. Bezl will also be presented on the cover. So it's Super Watchman and Bezl Magazine. So
cool.
We have two names. It's not ideal, but still it's a collaboration between the two of us. So,
work in progress.
So let's start.
Is it a work in progress?
Let's start. No one was willing to sacrifice their name for the magazine, so let's do both.
Super Bezl.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about that actually. Maybe Super Bezl, but actually Super Watchman, they are really big on Instagram. They have 1.5 million followers.
Yeah,
so
huge.
They wasn't really ready to give up on their name to kind of mix where they felt it's super important to keep our name, and I felt the same. So, but maybe down the line, this is also like a beginning of a new collaboration, and we didn't know each other before. So, but this is a good start. Maybe we'll find a completely new name, or we'll stick to this two name on the cover. I don't know.
Yeah, could work. Let's see. Yeah, if it works, it worked, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Is there anything else in your watch collection that you want to talk about?
Yeah, another watch that I really love is my Rolex Explorer.
Sorry, which reference Explorer is that again?
Yeah, the
Niclas?
reference of the Explorer is 14270.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and that
36 mil.
the 36 mil, and that watch has been in my collection since the very beginning. So I really love that watch, and also as a news journalist, I cover a lot of conflicts. So my main area is the Middle East. So I travel a lot in the Middle East, and that watch has been with me all over the world. Almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, now that's an interesting
so-
watch. It is that kind of watch. You imagine it like a journalist picks up his camera, picks up
Yeah.
his watch, gets showered 10 seconds to get ready
Yeah,
and out and get
it's-
the story. That's what an Explorer reminds me of.
And,
That's
and,
half
and,
the
and
time,
also it's so much under the radar because a lot of
Yeah.
people know about watches these days. And so I'm also very careful with my watches to not expose myself, to put me in danger or my family or my colleagues while I'm working. So, but that watch is perfect. Yeah. And also another watch that kind of fills the same area is my Tudor Black Bay 58. I have the blue
Oh.
dial. I love that watch. I mean, still,
we're very similar, Nick.
Yeah.
I love my Explorer, and I regret selling my Blue Dial Black Bay
Yeah.
58. I used to love that watch.
I haven't had that watch for so long, maybe 2 years, but still today, that's my daily. I wear it every time. Still today, that dial strikes me. Like, I think it's so beautiful, and it goes so well with so many. I mean, jeans, t-shirt, like a shirt.
With anything.
Yeah, and it picks up the colors. If I wear a dark navy blue shirt and I have that watch on, it's so beautiful. Yeah, I didn't think when I bought the watch that I would keep it. I mean, I was so curious about it, but this watch, I can see myself selling it. It's I really love it. Yeah. And also, guys, I want to ask you.
Want to get
I
another
want to
one
ask
now.
you guys. So how?
Yeah.
When can you call yourself a collector? You know, I'm not a flipper because I don't like to buy watches and do profit. But sometimes I see myself as a catch and release guy. I want to have the experience with the watches, but then time goes along, and then I want to try something else. So then I let go of many pieces in my collection. So my collection is always spinning. Like I have a few watches that I keep, but most of the watches will leave the collection eventually. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll let Andy answer
It's
this
funny,
first,
yeah.
actually, because he's
it's
more
funny,
expert than me.
basically, Niclas, you're kind of like both of us. In your watch taste,
Yeah.
you like Palm, and in your
Yeah.
habits, you like me.
Right.
You see, I'd like to say enthusiast. I think is a level when you can be an enthusiast and you can be an enthusiast collecting G-Shocks or Casios. It doesn't really matter as long as you're passionate about watches. It doesn't matter what that watch may be. I'd say a collection of something could be anything beyond one item. So if you've got 2 or 3 pieces, that could technically be a collector. You collect a small collection of watches.
Yeah.
And then you keep rotating it like we do. But yeah, I prefer to look from my perspective. I prefer more enthusiast. But yeah, there is serious collectors out there who have tens of. I've got friends with maybe 400 or 500 watches, which is just. I don't know how you make a connection at that stage as well. When does it become the extreme opposite of having too many?
Exactly. And also, like, I also feel like when you have that many watches, me, for example, I would consolidate immediately. I would take all these watches and buy maybe 1 or 2 watches because I don't need that many watches. And then
It's too many.
If I have the chance to try something more expensive, so to say, it's a very expensive hobby, this.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%.
So I really like to consolidate to kind of put a lot of effort into 1 watch or 2 watches and to be able to try to get to reach these more complicated watches, so to say, also.
Yeah, have the experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could have a 3-watch collection then. Are you saying that you could do that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I couldn't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. I could definitely do it, but I haven't had 3 watches in my collection for a long time. I have a few more. Yeah.
And as enthusiasts, just going back to that question you put to us, I think enthusiast is right. And you have a collection, as in what watches you have in your possession. That's what you have. But when you think of collector, you think of some high-end guy with millions of pounds of watches, and they don't normally tell you what they have anyway.
Exactly, and also I was talking to a guy a few months ago, and we talked about the collector, and he said no, but he's not a real collector because he sells his watches. And then I felt like, that's what I'm doing as well. But I call myself a collector. Maybe I can't do that, but I mean, it's.
Hey, you know what? What we say on this podcast is the hashtag is make the rules. Don't let anyone else tell you, oh, you are not this because I say so.
You're an enthusiast,
come on. Exactly.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
watches. Done.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. And it's a big difference of like moving watches from your collection to get something else, or to be a flipper. That's something completely different. So
yeah, exactly. If you're trading up, which is something I did, I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally. Yeah. So, Niclas, at Watches and Wonders, it was your first year, you mentioned. Out of all the brands you went to visit, obviously we met at a great brand, Jacob & Co., speaking of crazy movements, but which was your favorite piece you saw at the event, at the expo?
Yeah, actually it was Trilobe. I really like that brand. They're doing so beautiful watches, and I really like what they are doing. And I also was in a situation because I was there on the public days, and I think it's amazing that that Watches and Wonders have these days for the public, but it's also very crowded. Like the big brands, it's almost impossible to get access to the booth to see the novelties. So I was more looking into the smaller brands. I really like independent watchmaking. That's where my heart lies. So I think I would have done that anyway, but these small brands don't have that kind of queuing to see the watches. So I was able to get a nice sit down with the brand's manager and had the chance to try the watch on. So that was my favorite, yes. Another brand that I really like is Cartier. I think they are doing amazing stuff. The last few years, they've been picking up so much, and they have this really nice touch to everything, and they're bringing back the old models in a really beautiful way. So I really like what they are doing as well. I can really understand why they are one of the most popular brands nowadays.
Yeah, it's a shame though they bring back like the Tortue in a Cartier Privé collection, not mainstream. It'd be amazing if everyone could get that watch. That's one thing that upsets me a little about what they're doing, but yeah, it's just pure class.
The movement on that's more like constructed now to follow the case, and the case back of that watch is amazing, I think. Yeah, but I would have liked to see it as its original size. I think I was hoping for that, but they squeezed it up like 1 mil from the CP collection, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned Trilobe, because on 2 shows I've tried to explain. One of them was the Watches and Wonders, how the actual movement works, and I don't think any of our listeners understood what I was saying in both shows. I even got them to explain it, and I'm not sure anyone.
And also, guys, I have to be honest. Have to be honest with you. I'm not that guy who are really into movements. I know a lot about movements, but I'm a dial guy. That's what I'm going for. That's super important for me. That the watch has a beautiful dial. That could be like a nice design, iconic design, or the dial can have a vibrant color like this one, or this one has everything basically. But it's also a lot of design. This is you have that balance in the watch, even though it's like a triangle. They are like really. This watch is playing with a golden ratio. Yeah, and stuff like this I really admire. to have that kind of balance and to have that understanding for design is super important for me. More important than the movement. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that MBNF is
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
superb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful watch.
Does that get a lot of attention when you
Yeah.
when you're out, whenever you're wearing it out?
The one gets the most attention actually, and it's not because people know what it is, but people are really curious.
Yeah.
What is that? Like it looks like a spaceship, or like wow, it's so beautiful, like that the blue vibrant color. They can see it from a mile away. So I mean, when I get the kids at school, like parents come up to me like, "What is that?" Like people who don't care about watches generally.
Wow.
So this is like a really conversation piece. Yeah, it's much fun. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's an awesome piece.
And what about you guys? What are you going for when it comes to watches? Are you like more into dials or movements, or do you need to have both? Or yeah, Andy.
For me, I love vintage. I appreciate modern hugely. I'm a fan of modern, of course, but within what I collect tends to be more vintage than anything else. So for me, it's more the character of a watch. So I like a good movement, but again, it's how the style, I'd say. So cosmetically, do I vibe with it? Does it look cool with how I dress, with how I like to wear it? Yeah, many different things. Other times it can be just the power of a brand, and I just want to see a Rolex crown on my watch because I love Rolex. So it really depends on where I am in my mind and in my current journey. So, but yeah, if it's an incredible dial, then that's it. Other times it could be a beautiful bracelet, what really ties the whole thing together in how it's designed, and it can be that as well. So,
and how do you do? Like, do you pick the watch for the day and then the clothings, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Dress for the watch. Yeah, it's easier that way. Yeah, pick the watch first.
First the watch and then like the clothes.
Yeah, they come
okay,
second.
and what about you, Pram? Do we have time?
Yeah, we got time. I like modern watches. I like modern sporty watches. I like dress watches as well. I like everything. I've got a broad range. I like pigeonholing myself. I only this, but I do like modern. I think that's one thing where I feel safer. But it's the aesthetic. Maybe not the dial. It could be the dial. There has to be something about a watch. It could be the dial. It could be the shape. It could just be the way a watch makes me feel when I look at it. It could be nostalgia as well. It could be something that reminded me of when I was younger, or a watch I had and I wish I had now. So it's I'm a very feeling based guy, I think, on that, rather than just purely. I think the look and the feel inside that it gives you. That I was telling Andy once, but on the way to Watches and Wonders, one of the guys on the plane had a Speedmaster on, and it just looked so good on him. It's quite a standard looking watch. It's a look that everyone knows, but that watch looked so good on this person. I just thought it made me want, because I thought that you can resonate, you can feel something, you can connect, and it's when you connect with something. I saw a Bell and Ross. I've been wondering why they do what they do for years, and then I went to a Bell and Ross event and I saw one of their watches, and it's in a almost coppery, salmony color, and that I have no idea why I like it. It was just like, there's some watches you just can't get. It's such a range. It's not like I have to have this. I do like the brand. There are brands I like Rolex, Breitling, Omega, Cartier, but there's just some watches I'm finding now more than before are just, they trigger something. Yeah,
but I'll give you one quick example. Jacob & Co. SF24, the world timer with a flicker chart. One of the worst selling Jacobs, what they've told me themselves. And I was like, I love it. It's one of my favorites. So again, sometimes you just connect with a watch.
Yeah, and it's also so amazing when you collect watches, because we involve so much, like the taste, like it changes over the years. So I mean, I was a different collector when I started, if I compare to now, and also I've been doing a few mistakes down the road. So
everyone
you learn and you move on, and
still am.
Like that was not for me. I mean, I bought the Panerai as one of my first watches. That was not for me. It was too big. I love the design. Again, it comes back to the design for me. Iconic design, and also like it's super important for me with the storytelling as well. Like they have a great story to the brand. So I was so sure about that watch. you learn. Yeah.
Yep, we learn as time
Yeah.
goes on. Unfortunately, talking
Yeah.
about time, that's all we have time for
Oh.
today. So we're going to have to, I mean, we can do a part two.
Yeah.
Let's get you back on the show, Niclas, one
I
day,
would love
and
to,
then
guys.
we'll talk more. Yeah.
It was so much fun talking to you, and thank you for having me in your podcast. And
Absolute pleasure.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's been our pleasure. So, Andy, you want to do your usual sign off?
I do my classic. So, Niclas, thank you so much. It's been fantastic having you on the show today. Please go to our website, www.chronopassion7.com, to see all of the show notes, all of the references. Please go check out Bezl Magazine as well. We'll put all of the details in the show notes on our website, so it links across as well. So that is adios and hasta luego from Barcelona for today.
And as Andy says goodbye from Spain, as Niclas says farewell from the south of France, from London, actually, before I go into that, check out Bezl Magazine online and watch out for the Super Watchman stroke Bezl paper magazine, which should be out the time this podcast comes out. So, from London, it's Toodle Pip and laters, and we'll see you and you'll hear us in the next one.